Hi, I'm Evan Forster. I'm a co-chair of the Arts and Sciences Subcommittee with Jayashree Shivamoggi. Our very own Jayashree Shivamoggi will be our subject matter expert today. And many of you may know her as Dr. Dre. That was a joke. Actually, it's Dr. J. Okay, so that's how many of you may know her. But let me tell you about her a little bit. She has a 20 years of experience with scholarship advising. She has worked with, this is like ridiculous. Like she has worked with hundreds of students applying to various prestigious scholarships. And while there, Rollins College, where she worked, was recognized as a top, this is a quote, top producing institution of Fulbright scholars 10 times during the time that she was at Rollins College. And under her guidance, students have received the Rhodes Scholarship, the Cambridge Scholarship, and the Truman Scholarship, and the Goldwater Scholarship, just to name a few. I'm going to give this now over to our wonderful new professional hand, okay, clap, 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 snap, snap, snap. Okay, Jayashree Shivamoggi, new professional IECA member, but doing this for 20 plus years. Here you go, Dr. Jayashree Shivamoggi.
Hello, everyone. Evan, thank you so much for that incredible introduction. I am so delighted to be here. There's so much to talk about. I don't even know, because I am tasked with condensing in half an hour work I have done for 20 years, right? So I don't know how in depth to go or how superficial to be. So I figured I'll just start with, I'll just say your questions answered, and then keep the questions super simple. Right. And then we go from there, and I'll try to finish by 1:30, so then we can answer the question. So this is how I designed it. Right?
I'll try to later on, after we move over to questions and answers, if you don't want to be on video asking the question, put it in the chat room and I'll just do my best. Keep annoying me and I'll try to get the question answered.
So here's the questions that we're going to look at, right? What, why, who, when, how. So I think in our IECA community, the graduate application advising is becoming more and more relevant and important. Many of our undergraduate students or high school students who go on to becoming undergraduate students keep wanting to come back to us. And another thing I have started noticing is in my work as a fellowships advisor at Rollins College, the academic advisors at universities and colleges are extremely overworked and understaffed. The professors with whom your students major, they're too busy teaching or doing research or in their own stuff, and they don't have the time students need for advising for grad school, right? That is where IECs like us become important. So here I am. All these questions, let's look at them one by one. What are fellowships? And what's the difference between fellowships and scholarships, right? Fellowships and scholarships are exactly what they sound like. They are money for grad school. Fellowships come with fewer strings attached. Scholarships are money that you can use for your school. They usually have some strings attached to them, like you have to be in the particular school, or you have to use it for tuition or room and board or whatever the scholarship stipulates, right? This is money you don't have to pay back. This is not a loan, and that's the beautiful thing about it, right? So there are some famous scholarships like the Rhodes, Fulbright, Marshall, Truman, and there are so many famous people I can think about. Bill Clinton was the most famous Rhodes Scholar, right? And then Neil Gorsuch was a Truman Scholar. So I'm picking those two names to show you that there's nothing political about this. The students who win these scholarships are from all over the spectrum, right? That's why I try to choose two very different people, but what's common among them? They are extremely talented people, right? And then every year, the United States sends about 10,000 scholars away to teach English or to study in graduate school or to do independent research outside the United States as Fulbright scholars, right? I mean, this is soft diplomacy for the State Department. They want these 10,000 talented people to go around the world and show them what true American, an average Joe American is like, not what they see on the screen, on TV, or on Hollywood, or any of these celebrities, right? So these scholarships are famous and they're very competitive, but there are also other scholarships. They may be less known, but they are graduate research assistantships, graduate teaching assistantships, where the department will hire you to teach undergraduate classes or to help with faculty who are teaching large classes. And sometimes university or departments, they have grants, especially for PhD programs, right? So for many of these programs, when you're applying, it doesn't mean that you have to pay full cost. So this is what scholarships and fellowships are. And then why apply? I mean, so fellowships are awesome, scholarships are awesome. It's money. Who doesn't want money, right? If you can reduce the financial burden, but there's so much more to it. Once you are a scholar, then you belong to a network, right? Fulbright scholars, there's Fulbright Scholarship Associations. You are applying to a Fulbright scholarship, you can literally go to their network and talk to somebody who was a Fulbright scholar 20 years ago in Lesotho. You're applying to Lesotho. There will be somebody who has already done it and who can help you. And in the federal government, they have the USA.gov, right? They get no compete opportunities. They get preferential treatment in hiring. And the same thing goes for Boren Fellowship. And I mentioned Pickering. There's a fellowship called the Pickering Fellowship. Some of you may know the diplomat Pickering is named after him. Then there's Payne Fellowship, named after Payne, of course. And then there's Rangel Fellowship, which is named after Charlie Rangel. These are all by Department of State, mostly Department of State. And that is designed to increase the number of underrepresented people in foreign service activity, right? And so if you were chosen to be a Pickering or a Rangel or a Payne Fellow, you not only get money for grad school, the 3 summers, you get summer internship, to learn the ropes of being a diplomat, and you'll have high-level diplomats mentoring you. How can you beat that, right? I mean, of course, the money is nice, but then especially with the Pickering, it comes with strings attached, right? You Pickering, Rangel, and Payne, you have to work as a foreign service officer for a minimum of 5 years. If you have a student whose dream job is to be a foreign service officer, and this opportunity is like, we'll provide you mentoring, we'll give you money for grad school, and then we're requiring you to be a foreign service officer for 5 years. And they're like, how do I join, right? And so that's why you apply. You apply for the money, but there are so many other benefits. Okay, who can apply, right? I mean, anybody who has a passion has some kind of a scholarship opportunity that they can apply for. For graduate degree abroad, we were just talking about studying abroad, right? I mean, in UK and in Europe, there are a bunch of scholarships that give you opportunity to study abroad. That is how I found out as I was working in fellowships offices. I did a study tour in the United Kingdom. And then I found out that to do a taught MPhil program in London School of Economics, staying in London, right, costs less than half of what a master's program would cost in New York City. And London School of Economics is not Podunk University, right? And so, so there are many scholarships that you can take to study abroad. Schwarzman, you study in China. Fulbright, you can take it anywhere in the world. The Quad Scholarship is new, and the members of Quad, I believe, are Japan, India, US, and Australia. So you could be studying in one of those 4 countries, and the Quad Scholarship is for STEM related fields, right? And then the Rhodes, the Marshall, the Gates, they're all scholarships for study in the UK. Any discipline in the US, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a doctor, doesn't matter. You want to go to grad school. There are scholarships. There's the Knight Hennessy Scholarship. Some of you might recognize the name, Phil Knight and Hennessy. This was this is a scholarship that was founded in it lives in Stanford, and students worldwide are invited to apply to the Knight Hennessy Scholarship for study in Stanford, any discipline of their choice. The Truman Scholarship, you'll hear me talk about Truman again. The Truman Scholarship is for people who are interested in a career in public service. It is $20,000, $30,000 toward any grad program of your choice, here or abroad. They don't care where you study, as long as you have interest in a career in in public service, right? And then you heard me talk about Rangel, Payne, and Pickering. It's for a career as a foreign service officer. So you have a profile, there's a scholarship for you. This is very limited. I'm showing you very examples. There's various scholarships, right? Okay, when do you apply? At this point, wear your IEC hat. All the chaos that's happening in our life for November 1. What do we tell our students? If they want a successful college application, when do they start their preparation? It really starts in their first freshman year, right? In 9th grade, you need to start thinking about what kind of classes you're going to take, what kind of activities you're going to participate, how are you going to show your leadership, and all those things, right? And everything comes into play here too. So you want the Rhodes Scholarship. I'll keep using the Rhodes Scholarship as an example because I think a lot of you have heard about it. The Rhodes Scholarship, about 1,500 to 3,000 people apply every year for 32 spots, right? So needless to say, think about it as your kid wanting to apply to Harvard, right? So it's the big prize at the end. You don't start preparation for the Rhodes application in 3 weeks before the application is due, right? You start early. The Rhodes Scholarship requires 8 letters of recommendation. So you need to have 8 people who think you're incredible. So they need to start early, right? And then the Rhodes Scholarship has 4 criterion. They look at people who are academically excellent. They should be good enough to get admission into a graduate program in Oxford, right? And then they should have incredible, it started as athletic ability, think quarterback, but now they've changed it to physical vigor, right? I mean, and then leadership qualities. The leadership qualities, you know, people show that in various ways. You all know how in the college application process, leadership is so intangible. You show, don't tell kind of deal, right? And so you need 8 people writing letters telling how amazing you are about in all these things. That means you should have done all these things, right? Take really challenging classes, show leadership ability, show a desire to make the world a better place. And so all that needs to start the minute you get into high school. used to remind students that college is a 4-year stop, and this is where they gather all the skills they need for a successful career later. And so start early. You should be starting like yesterday. So all the activities they did in high school, how can they continue that and be successful? The application process is long and arduous. Fulbright, for example, the application portal opens on March 31st of 28, I'll use 2022. It opened on March 31st in 2022, and the application deadline was October 11th, 2022. Just like we are all fighting the sleep and we have the chaos in our world for November 1, the fellowships advisors, the Fulbright program advisors all over the country just experienced that. And they were breathing a sigh of relief on October 3rd when all the letters went out, right? And about 10 to 12,000 people apply. And then now the National Screening Committee meets in October and November, and they shortlist the candidates and they send on the chosen semifinalists to the host country. That happens in December. And then in January and February, the host countries then start of 2023, they start looking at the applications, and then they send back their recommendations. They're then called finalists. It goes back to the State Department, where the State Department then gives the final green light, and the students find out in March or April of 2023. When did the application process start? In March 2022, and the students find out about it in March 2023, and then they go to finish their Fulbright assignment in the academic year of 23-24. So the process is long, and they need to start this process at least 2 semesters before they need the funds. And many students don't understand that, and they try to do it. Too late, and it doesn't work. Some applications need scholarship, some need leadership and service. Truman Scholarship is an example. They ask for 3 letters of recommendation, where each one letter talks to the academic scholarship, one letter talks to passion in service, one letter talks about passion in leadership. And so therefore, and the students apply for these scholarships, for the Truman Scholarship in their junior year. So the process, really the preparation, begins as soon as they get to college. Okay, so now how do you do it? How do you apply? Just like the college applications, the scholarship applications are also very different and vary, depends on the scholarship. Right? Some have a whole year-long process. And so that's why I usually tell the students, these days, every scholarship has an incredible website. To look at the website, look at the details, and more often than not, the students will get lost. They need an expert to help them. And on their campus, they usually have someone who can help them. And I think if not, if they can't find really good people to do it, people like us can help them figure it out, right? And many scholarships require campus nomination and many don't. And so they need to know, the students need to know. And if there's a campus nomination, there's usually a campus interview. The Fulbright deadline may be October 11, but each campus will have their own internal deadline. They may not even take applications after August 1, because they need time to complete their internal process. And so every scholarship is different, every application process is different. And so students need to make sure they understand what's going on. That's why it's important to start the process maybe at the end of your sophomore year or in the beginning of your junior year, figure out and think about it, right? I mean, sophomore year students are just getting settled. So some require a strong portfolio of scholarship, leadership, service, examples. I'm rushing through, sorry, because I want to leave a lot of time for discussion. NSF GRFP, it is National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship Program. I believe they offer about 3,000 of these scholarships. It is $35,000 a year for 3 years.
Jayashree, keep going. You're
Okay.
giving such amazing information, and people have just joined several minutes ago. Just want to repeat to everybody something very important, which is Jayashree said, if you're just coming on now, all of this information, and we're recording it, but all of this information is important for ninth, for freshman year. Did you say that, Jayashree? Yes, correct?
Freshman year in college.
Correct.
Yes. And the National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship Program, they offer about $35,000 per year to the graduate student, $15,000 per year to the institutions where they're enrolled, and travel money and book money. Think about it. It's almost like having a job, right? And so this is something, it's very competitive and very prestigious. And so how do students prepare to be strong candidates, right? I mean, they need to take advanced courses in their major. They need to be engaging in undergraduate research, and then tie together research projects and draw a connection to their academic major, their research projects, and their passion. This bullet was thrown in here last night by my daughter, who just completed her PhD at MIT in EAPS, Earth and Atmospheric Planets program, where she studied hurricanes. I was sharing this PowerPoint with her, and she made sure that that bullet goes in there. It's very important. It's very important to tie together all the activities you have done, your extracurricular activities, your research, your major, and the undergraduate program, the graduate program that you're trying to apply. And you need to show NSF how they are all connected. Remember, NSF is about to invest $200,000 in you, right? And so she asked me a question. She said, Mom, you have advised students all these years. What is it you tell them that when they are writing an application? So another slide was born. What makes a compelling application? And you'll all recognize this is not very different from the work we do as IECs with high school students, right? I mean, the entire application needs to tell a story. It needs to make a themed, cohesive case for why the applicant is a good match for that opportunity. So how do we do that? We do that by writing a very short personal statement. Common App essay, people. I mean, we spend so much time doing that, right? I mean, it's not very different for the personal statement either. I like to use I'll use the example of Fulbright, because that's what I just finished working with a bunch of students. There's an abstract that goes at the top of the application, which is 1,700 characters. Over there, what the students write is a teaser for what's coming in the entire application, right? And then they have to talk about host country engagement, what they're going to do where in the country where they will be. And I tell them that's about your future, short-term future, where you're going to be and what you're going to do. Draw upon the activities you've already done, and then talk about what you will do. Say, for example, you're going to Germany, right? And then there's a future plans, where in the future plans essay, you'll talk, I call those 3 short answers the past, present, future of your life, literally, right? And then you follow it up with activities. They don't ask for a resume. Many times they build your resume. They ask, okay, give us 8 experiences you've done, and give us 8 honors and awards you've won, and tell us about 8 publications you've done. You have room up to 8, right? And if you're applying for a slow cooking, slow food movement in Italy. Elaine, this is in reference to you. You'll know why. And so then you talk about all the activities that you have done relating to that area, right? And then all the jobs you have had in that area, all the publications you have done in that area. So what happens is you've already said in the abstract, you want to enroll in the school in Italy that specializes in slow food movement. And then in your activities, you're showing all these activities. So you're confirming the desire that you want to do it, and the reader will be impressed. And this is followed by 2 essays. And in the 2 essays, you talk about why, and you show off your expertise. So there, as you can see, they're all connected. You start with the abstract. You tell them why you're applying to this Fulbright scholarship, and follow it up with your application. The whole application is one themed story, and everything needs to keep building and building and building on it. So, and that's what I was telling my daughter. Yes, that to me, that's very important. And then the next part is letters of recommendation. Some scholarships need 8, some need 2, some need 4, anything in between, right? And the people who are writing your letters of recommendation need to read your essay. Again, very similar to how we work with our high school students, right? Give your essay to the people who are writing a letter. Give them plenty of time and tell them what the scholarship is for. And don't forget to send a thank you note. If you bake cookies and take them cookies, they'll love you for it. I mean, after they've submitted the letter, not before. And so letters of recommendation, a lot of thought needs to go into it, right? And interviews, some have campus interviews, some have no interviews, some have a series of 2 interviews. That is a whole new topic that could take a whole hour. How do you prepare the students? And some interviews can be virtual, some interviews can be real, some have cocktail parties. The Rhodes Scholarship is known for the cocktail party they have the night before. If you think you can get drunk and have a good time and go to the scholarship next day, you can kiss your chances goodbye, right? I mean, you are on every second, you are over there. And then, so what are do's and don'ts? This is going to be my last slide. You already heard me say that, right? Start early.
We heard, okay, keep going.
Yes, and make sure that the opportunity matches the applicant profile. If you are a physics major, you're not going to apply to Truman Scholarship, which needs a career in public service, except if you're Ash Carter, you can do it all, right? So make sure, Ash Carter, the former Secretary of Defense who passed away, I believe 2 days ago, was a physics major and a medieval history major and an incredible scholar of all subjects, right? He was a Rhodes Scholar. But you make sure that the opportunity, if you are applying to a STEM scholarship, you better not be an English major. Explore all available resources. There are incredible resources online. And I'm going to leave you with some resources. Practice, practice, practice. And many times you may apply the first time, you may not get it. Don't be afraid to apply again. Don't count on making it the first time. It's more often than not, people have to apply once or twice. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't think you're going to apply to the Rhodes Scholarship and get it and go to Oxford. 3,000 people have the same idea and only 32 make it. And don't give up. If you're an IEC, you make sure your students don't give up, and you don't give up, and we keep working on it. So I am going to stop sharing, and we can chat.
I just want to say, first and foremost, Jayashree, amazing. And thank you. Thank you for being the co-chair of this incredible group. And for bringing, and I want to thank everybody for being here. We had a total of about 59 to 60 people here today. Is just, arts and sciences, guys, you know who you are. Laura, Jim, you rock. But I'm going to start by asking some of the questions that were put into the, first we'll start with Mindy asks, I hope I can say your last name, Mindy Peterson, wonderful IEC, asks, thank you, Dr. J. What are some of the scholarships that are appropriate for pre-med and public health majors? I want one of my students to start researching this now. I want to know, David and I, med school is our thing. Tell us, do you have any answers for that? Or anyone, actually.
Okay, I do have a couple of slides that I saved for later because I knew this question would come up. And we will try to email this. I'll probably, please reach out to me after the roundtable, and I can say, we are recording it, so it will be there. This is searchable website, right? This is what I wanted to show you. These are opportunities for recent graduates. I mean, you all know those of you who work with medical students, it says pathways for students and recent graduates. So there's this, and also I believe that the best form of flattery is by talking about it. Rochester Institute of Technology, their biology department, has this incredible website of co-ops, internships, and summer research opportunities in life sciences. And you name it, they have it. And
Okay.
then there's one more website. Again, this is by National Science Foundation. This is research experience for undergraduate students. They're called REUs. They spend about $10,000 per student, and you name the category, they have it over there. They even have STEM education, social, behavioral, economic sciences, and of course, biological sciences.
But I do have a question that comes from our very own Shree Gravely. Hi, Shree. And Shree asks, does this work just like the UCAS statement? And are there other essays other than extended resume info? Shree, could you just let us know what you were speaking about?
I think when you were talking about the personal statement, Dr. J, like, I just want to make sure it really should build a lot of technical expertise for most of these, or should it reflect a little more the story of the student? I mean, like, where's the balance here?
Yeah, many of these applications actually ask very directed questions. They have, for example, the NSF GRFP has 2 separate essays, a 3-page essay where it talks about the personal story, how you got interested, what is the intellectual merit, what are the broader impacts to the society, and then there's the scientific statement. So the applications make sure that they get both sides of this of your profile, if you will, or personality.
Sorry, Julie, I meant that for Denise Elliott. Denise Elliott has 2 questions. Denise, do you want to just go ahead and ask them, or do you want me to read them out? So, do you want me to read them? I'm going to read them. I think they're both pertinent.
I was just asking about the oops, can you see me now? Am I on there?
I don't know. Go ahead and ask. We can all hear you.
I was just asking about what she just showed. I wanted to see if there was a list of some of the websites, even, before you had that one slide up that showed a few of the names of the different scholarships, because I'm really new to graduate programs as far as graduate fellowships, and some of the names I've never heard of, and a lot of kids have never heard of them. So is there a website that even indicates what all the scholarship names are, between the Boren and the Rhodes. And
Yes. Yes, I want to show you something that is super cool. Can you see the nationally coveted scholarships website?
Yeah. Did you have that in the original?
Yes, I do. It's there. They have actually color coded the levels.
And so we already
Green.
have that in the
Yes,
in the recording.
the link to this website I just posted in the chat. But if you see, they have so many incredible opportunities here. If I were to go to the green and look at this search engine, this is what I love about this website. They have for Hispanics, Latinos, for minorities, for biomedical internships, social sciences, CDC fellowships, you name it, they have it. I love this website for that reason. I'll just, for the heck of it, right now, click on social sciences, right? I don't want the ad. So I am close the ad. And so now I said social sciences, show me all scholarships in social sciences. And the list begins here. And as you can see, there's red, there's yellow, there's
I'm going back and forth to make
Yeah.
sure we don't have this. So this you already have in the recording, yes?
Yes,
Great,
yes,
thank you.
yes. So it's on my last slide. If I go back to my slide, I can show you. It is this link here.
Got it. Okay, I have another question for you.
Yes.
Comes from Scott Markin. Ed Redefined. And Scott asks, are you aware of specific, maybe you answered it and I was doing all this technical stuff. Are you aware of specific scholarships or fellowships for social sciences?
And that's what I was showing, right? I mean,
Norman.
yeah, so, and then, okay, which one? Yeah, social sciences. This is all social sciences, right? Carter Center, and then some of them are NSF, for example, the NSF GRFP, you are eligible to apply to some social science programs. The only tricky scholarship will be for clinical psychology programs, because the expectation is you'll make a lot of money. And so clinical psychology many times is excluded. So that's
clinical psychologists make a lot of money, so
that's the expectation, but which may or may not be true, right?
So you're basically saying they don't necessarily need to go after this.
They just have to look. They just have to look, and that is why I have all these search engines, and then the students have to look.
And then just
if they look hard enough, there's a money for every profile.
So
I have a lot of Hispanic students, and I make them look at all the scholarships available for Hispanics and Latinos.
So Scott.
Yes. Hi. So just a follow-up question, and I appreciate all of these resources. I know at the undergraduate level, there are numerous sites for scholarships, but the reality is that most of them are, if I'm being generous, like not a good use of people's times to apply.
Yes.
And my background is in philanthropy, actually, and some scholarships, right? There's like one $500 scholarship, 500 people, 1,000 people apply. So these sources that you're giving, do you know, are they vetted, or is it also similar to the undergraduate that we'll need to go through and figure out what is sort of a, significant scholarship or, worth really investigating? Because hours and hours, right? And
I agree. The FA Tome one I have not vetted, but I used to leave that job to my students, and I always told them to come back and tell me how it went. And in general, my students did end up getting funding from there.
Do students have a better chance of acceptance if they attend a highly rejective school like a Select or Ivy or whatever you want to call it?
It depends, right? I think, look, I worked in Rollins College. Rollins College is the top ranked regional liberal arts college in the South, but then it's not one of the top 50 liberal arts colleges, or it's not Ivy, right? But then our students got into pretty good summer programs, and we had a pipeline to Cambridge University. We sent a bunch of our students to Harvard Law College. They've gone to Yale. And so I think what is important is the passion and the activities that you've done that start
So you're
early.
saying whether it's St. Cloud's, St. Andrews, or Stanford, go for it.
Yeah, go for it, because if you apply, your chances go from 0 to non-zero. Doesn't mean you have a good chance. So,
Got it.
I mean, I think that's why start early is important, and build a team in your experiential and academic career is important. The 4 years you spend, don't treat your time as very valuable, and they all need to be connected. Your extracurricular activities, your major, and your passion, and you stand a better chance. Whether
We have another question. Anita asks, any particular, I guess, scholarship or fellowship or grant or whatever for humanities, any that are for, and in particular, she asks, and this is a really great question, are there any for working adults who are 28 plus years of age?
Again, that is on a case-by-case basis. Number one, they are fewer and farther to come. When I started fellowships advising in '99, there were 4 scholarships for people in liberal arts. I saw them all go away one by one by one. Right now, there's only one. It is, but then it is for very selective colleges, small liberal arts colleges, for students who are first generation. And this is a 1-year scholarship to Cambridge University in the UK. And again, I think American Association of University Women, that's what it is, AAUW, has a scholarship for non-traditional students.
A few more minutes. We have the most incredible expert on a topic that we all need. Is there anybody who has a question? Can you just maybe shout it out?
Actually, I have another slide that I want to share with you all.
Hey,
Because I didn't know how much time we will have. So you guys didn't get to see my slide 12. It's the whole gap year deal, right? I mean, why plan B? You're applying, I'll tell you the story of one of my students. Senior year, did decently in her LSAT, didn't even get full ride. She was waitlisted in UT Austin. She's from Austin. And she was very upset. She said, Dr. J, I didn't even get into UT Austin. I'm waitlisted. I said, don't worry about it. You're doing Fulbright. That's your plan B, right? She did the Fulbright. She got a research Fulbright to go to Ireland. And she worked with the ambassador, US ambassador's office there to do a panel for women and their careers. And I was applying again to all the law schools, got into UT Austin with a Fulbright, got into Stanford, got into Harvard, and she had her pick of her choices because she just didn't have Rollins College under her name. She also had a Fulbright scholar. And she ended up going to Harvard. And we all laugh about how she thought it looked like down in the dumps, and then she had the pick of her choice in 1 year later. So plan B is important, applying to scholarships. And then what can students do in their gap years, right? They can be doing summer internships. And in the links I provided, the Idealist is a really cool place where I don't know if you have used it. I'll show this and then I'll stop talking.
I just have to say, Essay Busters, our nonprofit arm, is in Idealist. It's a great
So
read.
Idealist is Craig's list of nonprofits.
Yeah.
So I tell students to go there, find a job for 1 year in a career they're passionate about. It
I
could
only
be
have the book. Is it idealist.org?
yes. It's in the links I provided on my last slide. This is where I send students to get their gap year experience. And
Great.
please tell your students, whether they're high school students or undergraduate students, a gap year is not a cop-out idea. It's one of the best things they could be doing to further their chances.
Yeah, I want to put a word in for the Gap Year Association. If you're not a member, it's an incredible resource. Jayashree did such an incredible job that she was able to really get everything out there. And of course, if you have any more questions, I know that Dr. J, please put your email right there on the bottom. Just want to say thanks again for being here today and really supporting the Arts and Sciences Subcommittee and the Graduate Committee in its entirety. I love you too. Thank you so much. I saw that, Jackie. And you guys are great. And Jayashree, I want to finish by saying amazing, amazing webinar. I know everyone's going to make a lot of use of this at IECA. Do you have any final words?
Thank you very much for coming. And I just wanted to say, I'm sure as you all were listening through my presentation, you realize how much, how similar a fellowship advisor's job is to the IEC work that happens. We are all here for our students, and we want to make sure they get the best opportunity of everything that we do. And so I'm really energized being part of this group. Thank you very much for coming. I hope this was useful for everyone.
I'm going to close this out by saying the Arts and Sciences Subcommittee thanks everyone for being here.